All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first 5-star summit here on the 5-Star Network's YouTube channel. I am your host. I hear myself twice. What happened? That was wild. All right, my bad. I had the video playing in my head, so I apologize. But with me today is Dylan, Kay, and Peps here from the 5-Star Network. I'll introduce each of you one at a time. Dylan, how are you on this fine Tuesday? It is Tuesday. Oh my god.
Um, I'm sick. I'm gonna be real. I was stressed out because yesterday morning I woke up and I was sick and I was like, I have such a long night of watching wrestling ahead of me and I don't want to be sick. But it's okay. It's not that bad. I get sick a lot. I'll be fine. I enjoyed my wrestling last night and I woke up in time for this, so I'm happy.
Poor Sandre, who was supposed to be on this, is also sick.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just running in the crew today. But thankfully you were able to join and, like you said, enjoy your wrestling. Peps, how are you?
I'm really stressed. I'm studying like all day, and now I'm here to talk about some wrestling that I expected the show to go like much longer, like planned my whole day, and now it's like okay, I have free time, and now I'm here.
Well, we'll make sure we won't keep you too long. And then Kay, welcome.
Glad to be here.
It everyone here, of course, contributing to the 5-Star Network, which, of course, if you haven't checked out, 5starnetwork.co. But we're all here to discuss one thing, and that is the Keiji Muto retirement show. I should have the entire name in front of me, but I don't. Um, Grand Final Pro Wrestling Last Love Holdout. There we go. That is the full name for the show. Just a crazy card up and down, bringing promotions such as All Japan, Pro Wrestling Noah, TJPW, New Japan, DDT, and Dragon Gate all together into one show. It was one hell of an experience. And before we get into the actual card itself and start breaking that down, I'll go through each and every single one of you, and I want one sentence of how you felt about the show before we get into it. So, Dylan, what would be your statement regarding the show?
Wrestling's dope. and and wrestling's dope. I'll get into the philosophical meaning that I found behind it later, but wrestling's dope.
Good one. Peps, what will be your one statement?
Pro wrestling's last love might have died, but my love for wrestling is bigger than ever before.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I couldn't agree more. Oh, that was really good. It's almost like you knew I was going to ask that question, which you didn't, by the way. I hope everyone knows that. You didn't know. And then Kay, what would your statement be for this show?
A lot of great wrestlers finally got the chances they deserved on that show. It's less philosophical than the others.
Well, no, but I totally agree. I think that was really kind of what made it pro wrestling love, is seeing the likes of, the Shun Skywalkers and the Miyu Yamashtas and the Kento Miyaharas and, some of the very best in the world get to be on that stage inside a Tokyo Dome show. Of course, this was a very long card, but the show wasn't that long, which it was really well paced. It was broken into 3 sections. So you had the beginning section, which I believe is all free on YouTube, on Noah's YouTube channel. Then you have the middle, which is, kind of a little bit of everything. You get DDT in there, Dragon Gate, and of course the big All Japan versus Noah match. And then you had the final 4 matches, including the retirement of Nozawa Rongai, which we'll get to later. That was wild. We had Keiji Muto's retirement, obviously, and the huge match between Kazuchika Okada and Kaito Kiyomiya, as well as Hiromu Takahashi and Amakusa. So, without further ado, let's get into it. I'm not gonna hold us too long here. I'm gonna get right into it, and we're gonna start with the opening match, which I sat there and I said, "This is a really weird opening match." It was Masaki Kitamiya and Daiki Inaba defeating Yasutaka Yano and Yoshiki Inamura in a very quick match, highlighting the GHC Tag Team Champions, of course, Kitamiya and Inaba, Does anyone here have like major thoughts about this match? Because I think if we talk about it, we might go longer than the actual match itself.
I have a single thought, and it's that since getting into Noah, Yano's dope. I think he has a lot of potential. And that's pretty much my singular thought, is that I think he has a lot of like 10 years from now we're going to be talking about him how we're talking about a lot of people in Noah that's like big deals. So I'm excited for that.
Totally agree. Anyone else have big thoughts about the? I wish I had the time in front of me of how long it lasted. Maybe 5 minutes.
7
Really?
minutes, 21. Yeah,
Did
it
not
wasn't
feel that
really
long.
long. I mean,
No.
it's kind of weird. It's like the first Tokyo Dome Noah match in like 17 years or something. I think Destiny 2005 was the last one, and they opened with such a random match.
I know, and like even if that's the pre-show, they also opened with the most random match on the main card too.
Yeah. They were like it was like the well, especially the main card. They're like, "Are you sure you want to stick around?
Yeah,
Are you positive?" And I did.
you always come back in a couple hours.
Kay, did you have any thoughts about this one?
I did think like it was a solid match, right? Like compared to what I'm used to Dragon Gate is like the fact that Yano, like with his potential and at his age, did not have like a full gimmick and was like doing title matches and so on. Was like something I had to get into my brain, but like I enjoyed it for what it was, but it really wasn't anything special.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all. I'm not gonna lie to everybody. Every match after this one I remember for one reason or another. This one I just remember being happy that Masaki Kiyomiya got a big stage. That was about it. And he got a bigger stage later in the night, but we'll get to that. Or we'll be having, you get what I'm saying. But the next match was the TJPW match, one that I know a lot of people were looking forward to, and they went 11 minutes and 38 seconds as the Pillars, Miyu Yamashita, Rika Tatsumi, Shoko Nakajima, and Yuka Sakazaki defeated Maki Ito, Miyu Watanabe, Yuki Rai, and Mizuki. Not that that's much of a shock that the Pillars won, but this is one of the finer pre-show matches you'll ever see, I think. The TJPW roster should be proud of these 8 and what they delivered. I think not only did they get a lot of eyes on TJPW, obviously by just being on this show, but with how they're rolling anyways, I think this is just the beginning for these 8 in this promotion. Who did everyone else enjoy this match as much as I did?
I enjoyed it a lot.
I think I may have enjoyed it more. Like speaking in terms of just personal preference, I think this was my favorite match of the entire night.
Wow, that's big regard, but I can understand that completely. It's especially with the personal preference thing, and as we all care about Joshi in one way or the other, it's always cool to see these talents inside the Tokyo Dome, because who knows if they'll ever get another chance other than the empty Tokyo Dome matches that Wrestling Universe does as a whole. Dylan, did you think anyone stood out more than others?
I would say like visually, and this is the biggest surprise anybody will ever see, Miyu Yamashita just like engulfed everybody else just from like a charisma standpoint, from a presence standpoint. In ring, I'm a big Miyu Watanabe guy. I thought that she popped the crowd big with her power stuff, which is always my type of thing. But I would say Yamashita just really just her presence was completely captivating, even inside of the big arena.
Yeah, I totally agree. Peps, did this reach the levels you hoped it would so early in the card?
Yeah, I actually would say it kind of exceeded them, because I expected a bit from them, because it's like 8 of the best TJPW has to offer, and like the Pillars on one team against the new generation, even though you can't really count Mizuki and Makita's new generation. And I expected a lot from them, but I would say that especially like they had like 11 minutes and they gave everything they could have. They're all amazing moves. Everyone had something that the crowd popped for. Especially Miyu Watanabe. I mean, Her moveset is perfect for a new crowd. Where, like, I mean, the giant swing, her double body slam, it's just easy moves that the crowd can pop for. Shoko Nakajima got a big pop too for her dive.
Yep.
But I mean, I'm really happy for someone like Rika Tatsumi to get like the big spot. Because I mean, the other Shonen pillars are like they get everything possible in the promotion. Like Rika's always like just the fourth girl that like sometimes gets a bigger win. I mean, she gets more than everyone else outside of the pillars, but compared to the other pillars. So I was really happy that she got like the big chance, and she seemed really happy about it.
Yeah, her face when she came out was priceless.
Yeah,
she's like, "Holy shit!"
One of the parts that go ahead, Peps.
Yeah, I mean, she's a big Tatsumi Fujinami fan, so I mean, I can't just imagine how she was like, okay, she watched his matches in that arena, or like in that venue, was like, okay, I want to wrestle there too. Now she finally did it.
Yeah, and I will say, I think the crowd got better and better as this match went on. They really won them over, and like you guys said, the swing of Watanabe, getting a huge pop, and I think this was a match where the commentary team, at least the English side, did a really good job of kind of giving you an idea of what TJPW is all about. And I will give credit to them; they continue the Noah trio. They continue to push that Joshi should be featured more on Noah moving forward. This is the second big show for them in a row of having it, and they hit it out of the park once again. One of the best matches on the night. It's incredible what happens when you give people opportunity, right, on such a big stage. And I think Maki Ito grabbing a microphone to do her whole thing, that was my favorite moment. It's just like, how is everyone going to hear her do this? And they all responded back. It was absolutely fantastic. Before we move on, was everyone okay with the Pillars winning?
Yeah. I
was shocked.
I mean, it's not very shocking, but considering they were the ones that like built the way that the other four can even wrestle there, is like, I mean, they definitely deserve the win.
Yeah, I totally forget who got the pin on who.
Yukon Arai.
Yuki, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's valid. That's valid.
Honestly, the part of the match I liked best was like the confrontation between Yuka Sakazaki and Mizuki. The camera really focused in on their facial expressions, on their emotions, and of course, their history as a tag team is something that's very compelling if you dive into it. And the way they hit each other with just all of their strength was really impressive. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. That was the last thing I was going to point out. It was like a good little mini preview for their title match at Grand Princess, which I hope they won a lot of people over. We have some comments here. We got Heart Editing, showing my respect on my break. Already great conversation. Proper me respect. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you, Heart, coming in on your break. And then we got Amy cheering on the good-looking guys, which is up next. You set us up perfectly. Of course, the good-looking guys defeating Sugiura Gun, Takashi Sugiura, Timothy Thatcher, as well as Satoshi Kojima. Of course, the big thing coming out of this match is Satoshi Kojima is unfortunately done with Pro Wrestling Noah for the time being. He'll be going back to the Road 2 shows in New Japan because, very upsetting. But the good-looking guys, Jake Lee getting the big win, and the moment he got the win, I said, "Uh-oh." And that was uh-oh for Mr. Kaito Kiyomiya. The moment I saw him win, I was like,
very, very deserved.
Yeah, but the good-looking guys, my boy Jack Morris, I've interviewed that guy, so it's pretty cool for me to see him get a win. But I'm happy for everyone on that good-looking guy side and Sugiura Gun. I mean, Takashi Sugiura, I'll continue to say, will go down as one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time. Unless you knew who he was and you follow Noah, you don't fully see that greatness that he's been showing. But in this match, did anything stand out to anyone specifically, or was it just, the trios match to close out the pre-show.
No, I mean the match was kind of. I mean it was kind of solid from what it was. The finish was kind of out of nowhere, which happened multiple.
Yeah.
Which happened multiple times of in the show. The one thing that sticked out was I don't know who it was from the commentary. I think it was Mark, who dropped the Darth Vader Jake Lee inside it. Like I started like a year ago.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing I remember from this.
I remember Jake Lee hitting his new finish, whatever it is. Was it a haluva kick? I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I was
it's
so
like
shocked.
a haluva kick, but he doesn't
Not
take
as
like
good.
a long run. He just like stands there,
Yeah.
meter next to him, and like just kicks him.
I was in
I'm not
shock.
I'm not an AJPW guy. All of those dudes throw big boots. Like every
They
single,
sure
like
do.
all four. I mean, obviously Jake Lee is now Noah, but like all four of the AJPW representatives as of last year, let's say, all threw a lot of big boots. I was like, damn. maybe try a drop kick or something. I don't know. But no, I think the biggest takeaway from this match isn't actually the match. It's just the fact that like Evolve is in this match. Like
yeah.
Evolve is on this. Like I think about Trashy Tim, Trashy Tim Thatcher and Retro AG, and I'm just like, these dudes, how did they get here before like all of their peers? And it's like no disrespect to them, they're both really good wrestlers, but I just like was kind of dumbfounded that I was like, damn, I was watching these guys a few years ago in the smallest places possible, and they're just in the Tokyo Dome now.
I tweeted this out. I was like, 4 years ago, I was in Melrose, Massachusetts, in like the smallest venue you can imagine, watching Anthony Green wrestle.
Yeah.
And now he's inside the Tokyo Dome. I was like, that's pretty awesome, though. Congratulations to him. I don't know how his life went from there to WWE to now this, but good for him.
Yeah, he just like Anthony Green is such a funny case to me. Like it's like he's a good wrestler. Like don't get me wrong, but he is such a strange person to be like a full-time tourer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's not someone that jumps off the page as this big Noah guy, but good for him. In the new faction, good looking guys. Anything else on this match before we move to the main show here?
No, honestly, just that it was the first match on this card out of several where I laughed out loud at the finish because it was just like, what the fuck just happened? Where did the rest of the match go?
Yeah, it was. I just remember like looking down. I looked up. And I was like, "What?
Yeah,
did I miss something? Like, when did Jake Lee's finisher become that?" But I feel like that's the definition of Jake Lee nowadays. Is I have no idea what's going on. We got 1/3 of the Dramatic Dream Dragons joining us here in the chat. Hey guys,
hello.
Thank you for joining us. All right, let's move here now to the main card. Damn it, I forgot what match it was. It was the all junior tag. It was kind of Stinger versus Alejandro Atsushi Kotoge, Junta Miyawaki, Saiki Yoshioka, and Yohei. We won't let Peps talk about Yohei. Otherwise, we will allow
Yohei
everyone...
was in this match. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I just realized it too. So this match went 6 minutes and 23 seconds. It got the least amount of time, and I think most people will be okay with that. I will ask though, did anything in this match stand out to anyone? Did this make you want to watch the junior division in Noah?
I don't think anyone they are doing like in the last 3 years makes me hype for anything they do in the junior division.
I know, and I really like Ada, right?
Yeah.
No, like the wrestlers itself, most of them are like really good. I mean, Ada is really
cheating.
good.
Ada's cheating.
The whole face side is really good. Even Yohei is really good. I mean, even like Ogawa is still really good for his age, even though I don't need to see him in like every single tag title match possible.
Yeah.
But
Hayata's
like
bad.
the angles they're shooting, they are like so no sense. They're like just doing angles because we haven't turned a wrestler in like 1 week or so. Let's turn another. I mean, this whole Stinger thing just confuses me.
It's also very funny because Daga just got there. And he's like, what is happening? I am so confused. He does not know what to do. Because he's like, I mean, Ada's my dude, but like, why are we beefing, bro? What's happening?
Yeah, you felt that.
Not
little-
here.
That's like, yeah, that they had like a Hurricane Hall elimination match where like he was also like just there standing, like celebrating, and like had like no idea what was going on. I don't think he got like the memo of the angle, so I don't know.
No, I don't think you do.
I mean-
I will say I always appreciate Ada because of course Ada Dragon Gate Zone. I'm not gonna lump him in with the Noah Junior division. What are we doing here? Hayata can go away. I'm just gonna be frank. I can't stand this guy. Anytime he shows up, I just want to shut the show off. And I didn't, but I may have not paid attention. So,
We at least got Overdrive as the theme song, so
yes.
that's at least something positive out of this.
Yes, Kay, with Ada in this match, do you feel like he got to do enough? Because truthfully, I remember him doing like nothing.
Yeah, no, I don't remember doing anything either. I think like the main thing I remember from this match, aside from this being the second match where I laughed out loud at the finish, is that I looked at Junta's gear and thought like, he picked some things up from SB Kento when they were teaming in Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was really sad that Junto is the one taking the pin.
yeah.
Like that was
didn't
like my
Junta-
biggest takeaway. I was like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah, that's the thing now. After the match, it was announced that Junta is going
Yeah.
back to Mexico. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's kind of weird to have an excursion after the excursion. So I'm like thinking, are they like unhappy with him? Because otherwise, it makes like no sense to me to bring someone back from excursion, push him, put him in the Budokan Junior title match, and just send him back a month later.
I thought he's looked good out of the
Yeah,
whole
I thought
division,
so
so
too.
it's
It's
more
like,
shocking.
okay.
What do we know?
Okay.
I guess Hayata's. If you don't look like Hayata, I guess you're not doing great, right?
You know, yeah, getting into Noah this year has really like I never really got the whole like, oh, Noah Juniors in the modern age are like yikes. I never really got it because I was like, these guys like Ridgeway. I remember Ridgeway way more fondly than a lot of Brit Rest guys that I used to watch. And Ada's great. I've always known that. And like, you know, they have some young talent. Obviously,
Ridgeway just got back, to be fair.
yeah, true. But you know, Amakusa, he's good.
Yeah,
And then I watched this and I was like, okay, I get it. That makes sense. Why people kind of drag it.
You know, you need to think like that's what's happening at every fucking bigger show in the last 2 years
Yeah.
that I'm watching. At every single show.
No one's the junior division did not win people over like I think a lot of promotions did. We have Sandre in the
Maybe-
chat. Oh, go ahead, Kay.
Yeah. Like, honestly, maybe Sean is right on this one thing. I mean, it's like, unlike how he phrases it, it's not really itself the fault of the talent, but you know.
Yeah, no, Shun's 100% right about this division. I will never blame him for that. We have Sandre in the chat. Sandre was, of course, supposed to be on the show, but it's okay. We'll have you on soon. Of course, his dramatic dream future is bright, and Z Brats are brats as usual. That is very true. We'll get to them in a few. And he also adds, but like, who are we fooling? He will eat pins to Hayata if he stays. That talking about Junta Miyawaki. So you are very right. Instead, he's eating pins to everyone else too. Anyways, we move on to DDT Showcase. It was Mao, Shunma Katsumata, Toi Kojima, and Yuki Ueno defeating Tetsuya Endo, Yuya Koroku, Hideki Okatani, and Takeshi Masada. When I saw that DDT was going with the whole young core of their promotion, right? Not bringing the guys like Higuchi and Hiroshima and, you know, guys like that. Even Yukio Naya, which I'm not a big fan of, but nonetheless, he's one of their main guys now. I was a little bit shocked, but once this match was over, I understood it. You had your young guys who, of course, have been featured in this D-Generation Cup that they've been doing, and I think a lot of them look great. Takeshi Masada, this guy is unreal. Like, for a guy that just debuted not so long ago, I am completely stunned by how good he is already. And maybe he wasn't for me, he was the biggest standout. But I'll start with Kay here. Kay, who stood out to you the most out of the DDT crew?
I mean, I'm extremely biased here. Like, Sana Kamina is one of my favorite factions ever in
Fair enough.
wrestling. But like, I think they did a great job. Like, Ueno was fantastic as usual, and Mao and Shunma had also some great spots together.
Yeah.
I think to me probably like Ueno stood out the most, but I did also like what Kojima and his rival, I always forget his name, I'm sorry, Yuya?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to say his last name, but I don't know it.
Kuroku.
Kuroku,
Gotcha.
right, sorry. Yeah, Kojima and Kuroku did a great job, I think, like with, the time they had, and they really gave it their all, and I really like that. That was incredible. I like that.
I agree.
And-
I think Mao also looked incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that did stick out to me was this was like one of the moments where I like had my little moment at the English commentary, because they kept calling Sana Kamina 37 Kamina, which that's how it's written. But if you've ever seen a match, that they say it's like Sana because it's San na Nana. But and also of course they said that Higuchi was still in eruption. I think they maybe needed.
Nah, they coping. I feel the same way. I am coping in the same way that they are. Don't worry.
To Dylan here, who stood out for you in this match?
I am guilty of being a big Shunma guy. I love every bit that he does.
Same.
I find him so hilarious. I remember Mao was the only, like, Shunma and Mao are the only wrestlers that I've ever enjoyed a pheromones match. The only time. And it's because they are so funny that I like, okay, this is enjoyable. It's the only time. Like, they just have like this, I don't know what it is about them. They just have this like grasp on me. So like Shunma, like Shunma being put in a hold and then getting the crowd to say, do your best, Shunma. I found that funny. Like I and also like they're great wrestlers. I think the Sauna Boys are great. And yeah, I'm a big, as I just mentioned, I'm a big eruption guy. So Okatani, I think, shows out a lot more for me. Like I think that he's a really good young wrestler. So shout out to him. But yeah, I thought this was a really good match. Probably the best match next to the TJPW to this point, in my opinion.
I agree. Peps, who stood out for you?
It's likely a pretty boring answer, but it's definitely Mao for me. He's like so good. I don't know. He's like never really talked about when we talk about Kamina, and like because of course like Ueno is there, who's like getting the big spotlight now, and Takeshita is obviously. I mean, Takeshita is a superstar and always gonna be, but like Mao is fantastic, always has been, and he has been so good in this match.
I agree.
But otherwise, I mean, from the rookies, they're all really good. They're like really good rookies, and I hate to compare it, but that's like the total difference of Yano in the opening match, because they all feel like they have some at least some character, which makes them more interesting. And
I agree.
also like stand out a bit more, especially Kuroku and Katani have like pretty expansive gears. Masada still is like in his rookie gear. He's gonna get the upgrade soon, but like they already look like they're like members of the core roster and getting like the bigger wins. While like Yano is just there pretty much to get experience that I don't think he really needs. Right? I mean, he's better than just being the opening fall taker guy at this point.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's move forward here. Now we get to Noah versus Dragon Gate. I just smashed my mic with my hand. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Naomichi Marufuji, and Ninja Mac defeating Z-Brats, Diamante, Kai, and Shun Skywalker. Unfortunately, it looked like Diamante did injure himself in this match. But before that, there was a whole match pretty much. I think it was so enjoyable to see Shun Skywalker here on the big stage because he is such a dick. And it doesn't matter who he's facing.
He's horrible, and that's why he's the best.
Yes,
it's just...
I just heard him like laughing the whole time, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy!" Like he's out of the ring, like huffing and puffing, and he's still making the noises. And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Kay, I know you're a big Dragon Gate fan, so what was this like for you, getting to see these three out there?
I really loved it. Like, that was honestly one of the main reasons why I wanted to get this pay-per-view, was, to get to see Shun and also, Diamante and such on this stage, and like without having to, full-time sign with New Japan. And I did really love it. Like, I love that, Shun was able to do his... In the Japanese comments called it goat screaming in the Tokyo Dome. I love that he got like booed the shit out of him by the Tokyo Dome audience, by like 30,000 people. He got the loudest boos of the night, and I just love that. Like, that just proves how good he is as a heel, and gave him, some of the laurels I think he deserves for being such a horrible asshole so incredibly aptly.
Yeah, one of the best heels in wrestling. Like Sandre said in the chat, the Z-Brats being absolute brats from beginning to end. I think what most impressed me, besides Skywalker, who I was most looking forward to in this match, is how Hio Double Dr. Wagner Jr. This guy is on a roll here in Noah, and he got the winning fall. It wasn't anyone else. It was him. They had him get the big with the big moonsault. But I'll leave it to Dylan and Peps here. How did you enjoy the match overall?
I'll go first because I don't have too many comments, and I know I am probably the least educated on Dragon Gate and this specific combination of Noah guys. Obviously, I know about Ninja Mac, and I know about all of them. But yeah, I thought it was a good match. I have not watched Dragon Gate since Red still existed. So
oh boo, you're missing out. Like, Shun's heel turn is
no, the funny thing is that Ada was my guy, and then they kicked him out, and I was like, I don't care anymore. Why would I care anymore? And so yeah, I haven't watched a lot of Dragon Gate in a few years, at least religiously. But I enjoyed what I saw. Obviously, Shun Skywalker is very, very popular amongst many of my friends, so I enjoyed seeing him for, I haven't seen him very often. I've seen maybe a few matches of his recently. So he definitely impressed me. And yeah, I mean, Ninja Mac did his Ninja Mac stuff, and I always liked that. And yeah, I thought it was a fun match.
I will say, if it helps you, I got into Dragon Gate when Masquerade was the thing, and they broke up. They broke up like within 3 weeks.
No, you want to know? You want to know the real thing that happened with me with Dragon Gate was I was like getting into it when they had like a bunch of factions, and I was like, oh, I really like this dynamic. I really like
Generation War.
And then the Generation War started. And I was like, why? Why am I here?
That's phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Peps, what was your thoughts on this match?
I mean, it was your standard 6-man tag. I think the funniest thing was like that Kai, the only Keiji Muto trained guy in this match, coming out with the Z-Brats Keiji Muto bye thing all over his gear.
Yeah,
and he's like the one getting the pin, like he's the one getting beaten here, which was kind of funny to me, because I was like, I talked with Emmy about it in like Discord. I was like, okay, he's getting the win here as the Muto guy, and Muto was like, no.
Yeah, no, Noah had to win every other match because they were going to get destroyed by New Japan later in the night.
Yeah, but Diamante is so good. He's I need to point it out. He's so good, and like I don't think many people like talk about him highly outside of the Dragon Gate fans. Because I mean, and even the Dragon Gate, he doesn't get the big singles matches yet, but I definitely think he will get them, because he definitely seems like he's someone who's brewing to break out on his own, and I hope that he's fine. I think Emmy pointed it out that the commentary, like I feel like they had like no clue about most of the wrestlers.
Yeah, like they fucking
they
mixed up
instantly,
the triangle gate and the
Yeah.
dream gate several times. It's like it's literally called the triangle gate. Like if it was the dream gate and the brave gate, okay, maybe, but like why the triangle gate?
Yeah,
I agree.
my prediction on that is just that they wrote the preview like either like they wrote the preview like weeks ahead, or they didn't do enough research and just thought like, okay, he held the triangle gate belt a while ago, so he still holds them. Because I would need to look up, but I think the moment the card was announced, he was still the triangle gate champion. I could be wrong because he lost like the belt around the same time. And like I mean, it's kind of what it's not really.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Not really an awful thing, but it just bothers me.
It's a wild one to get wrong.
Yeah.
And normally you should get at least the facts right.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think part of the reason why Diamante doesn't have like the big title matches is because like he revealed recently in a live stream that he's not actually signed to Dragon Gate. Like he's a freelancer. He just like basically wrestles for them as though he's signed because he likes the promotion a lot.
The old Sonata conundrum, where they wanted to push him so bad for like 5 years, and he's just like, I'm not signing that shit, bro.
That worked out well for him. We got some comments here. Amy asked if Marufuji versus Shun could be the next match for Skywalker after the Noah team won, because of course that was the big tease going on throughout this story. Sandre brings up how Mark Pickery says that his favorite company is Dragon Gate, so it's weird how educated they were. Of course, that was on the English announce team, and pointing out Kai, Shun, and Ishin were the Triangle champs when the match was announced. Okay, so we move forward here now to what a lot of people are really highly anticipating: Kazuchika Okada and Kaito Kiyomiya. Understandably so, but this match for me was like right there in terms of excitement. It was Congo's Katsuhiko Nakajima, Kano, and Manabu Soya defeating the All Japan trio of Kenta Miyahara, Yuma Aoyagi, and Suwama. This match obviously had tons of story in it just between Kento and Nakajima and their history from Diamond Rings, from Kensuke Office, and how Kento not a big fan of Mr. Nakajima. So would they play to it? Would they avoid it? They played to it right from the beginning. Before we even get to the match, we got the big Kento Miyahara entrance, folks. That's what mattered the most to me. What a star. What a guy. He's having such an incredible year. If you've been following All Japan, you know how amazing he's been doing. So getting to see him on this big stage was great to see. And the match that followed was fantastic. I loved every second of it. Suwama absolutely bullied the hell out of Manabu Soya. The poor guy. Like I was like, oh no, Manabu Soya can't come back from this. You had Yuma playing heel with the Muto stuff. I did not expect that out of Yuma. He was awesome with doing that. But of course, when Kento and Nakajima got in there, it was absolute pro wrestling magic for me. I'll start again with Kay. Kay, did you have any excitement towards this match based off of the stories that you heard regarding these two, or was it just like, all right, this is cool seeing top guys of one promotion versus top guys of another?
With this match, like I had the sense, I don't really like watch All Japan at all. I've never seen a single match there. Like maybe one day I'm gonna watch, Shun's and Mochizuki's tag team run there, but other than that, But so I didn't really have like a lot of context. I, follow some people who said a little bit about it. But watching this match, I had this sort of sense of this is a good match, but there's a lot of there was a sense of there's a lot of in-depth story that I don't know.
Yeah.
And if I knew it, I would enjoy this so much more.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's like a part where I also think that maybe I'm being mean to them and I'm really sorry, but where I think commentary maybe could have done a little bit more. to sort of
I get that.
get that fully across.
Yeah,
I get
yeah. The thing is that the history is like I don't think they want to talk about it. I don't think they want to talk about what like in the case golf has really happened, and I can understand that in some form, because from what we know, it's. I don't think they can mention it without like starting a big scandal.
Oh.
Yeah, if you go too deep into it, you don't want to. You aren't gonna like a lot of the people involved.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nothing new with wrestling.
Yeah.
No, that's true. That's very true. The deeper you get, the worse everyone gets. Dylan, how'd you like this match?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was quite good. Me being me, I personally would have given Keno a bit more time in there because that's my guy. That's my dude. But I thought it was a good match regardless. I obviously am a big Nakajima guy, and I thought that his stuff with Miyahara is really good. And yeah, I also not an All Japan guy. I haven't seen a All Japan match I haven't seen a modern All Japan match ever. I don't think.
Mhm.
No, I watched one Yuji Nagata tag match like 3 years ago when he was when he was the All Asia champion. I did watch that. But yeah, I'm not a big All Japan guy, so I basically had the same kind of like understanding of like, okay, I know Kensuke Office, I know about the family, so to speak. And you know, I'm a big Nakajima. I'm a big Congo guy personally, so I enjoyed this a lot. I thought they did a lot of good stuff. And yeah, shot Keno one time. He got the pin.
Peps, I know you're with me. You know, you watch All Japan like I do. You've watched Kento Miyahara do what he's doing this year, so I'm sure you know you love this as much as I did.
I was the happiest person alive watching this. I was sitting here with like the biggest smile on my face because it like, I mean, I always said Kento Miyahara is one of the best wrestlers in the world, but I was wrong. I'm now the opinion he's the best in the world. And the only reason why it's not as obvious is because he has a really shitty roster. Matt, this guy. No, it's no disrespect. But if 2023 Suwama is one of your rivals, then your promotion is doing something wrong.
Hey, this Suwama was great.
Yes, this Suwama, that's like the most effort he had in like years. Because otherwise, I mean, Buddha Murder Suwama is the worst.
Unagi got in his ear, and he was like, you know what? I think I need to go on my Gyan period right now. I think that's what's about to happen.
He rocked Kano one time where I think he knocked Kano a little silly. Because like Kano was like a little off with Yuma after, and I was like, oh no, did he actually rock him? I mean, Kano came back and did all his stuff, but it was crazy.
I mean, what can I say? I was like the intensity of the crowd like instantly shifted. When the like a graphic popped up, everyone was like cheering. Like every 30,000 people in the entire crowd knew the fucking lore between them. I don't know how, like, because I don't think it was ever mentioned in like a big post or so. But
yeah,
I really hope that's just the start, because I mean, what happened afterwards is like, okay, we might get an Old Japan Noah feud in some form.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be fantastic, because more Kento Miyahara big matches is the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Yeah. So
after more Micah big
matches. so to give some info on that, what Peps was talking about is that after there were some press conferences, but you know, post match, Kento's yelling at Masaki Kitamiya at the desk. And we learned that he invited Masaki Kitamiya to All Japan show on the 27th. So it's starting to feel like, of course, Champion Carnival coming up. There are 2 X's in that tournament, so just worth mentioning. You know, I don't know who those are.
Kano and Soya also challenged for the All Asia.
Exactly. Tags. So they'll be facing Yuma and Nomura soon, which should be great as well. But it does feel like we're on our way to All Japan versus Noah in some respect.
Yeah. What I need to mention is the reason of Kento Miyahara screaming at Masaki Kitamiya is because Mas is also from the Kensuke office. like
Yes.
training from there, so they know each other from back then. And obviously, Masa being a long-time tech partner of Nakajima is also like there is like a lot of history, likely way more we will ever know because they're like thousands of likely blog posts that covers that we haven't seen or will never find.
Yeah.
And man, I'm so hyped what's about to come because All Japan can be kind of uninteresting at times because they have like, okay, Kenta Miyahara is having a fantastic match again against the same people. So bringing in someone like Masaki Kitamiya, who's like, I would say he's pretty much confirmed for the Champion Carnival at this point, because I mean otherwise they wouldn't invite him to the show.
Yeah.
Having someone like him in the Champion Carnival brings in a new dynamic, new matchups, and I mean Masaki Kitamiya versus Kenta Miyahara would be a fantastic match.
Yeah. And I think I'll confidently say it will be a fantastic match when it happens. I'm more confident on that happening than us getting Katsuhiko and Kenta one-on-one. But lots of exciting stuff to come from this match. Absolutely fantastic match for me up until this point. My favorite match of the night.
We're also lucky because the last big crossover tag team match that Nakajima was in didn't go so well, and it felt like he had a bit more reason to hurt someone here.
I
But he didn't,
admittedly
so we're good.
sat there very worried.
Yeah, I was like, when's that overhead coming?
I love Nakajima. I really
big
do.
fan.
I think he's phenomenal, but I do have fear when he
Like
steps in there.
there's the two paths that he'll go down is just get a little extra sassy with the showtime, or he just actually kills you. Like those are the two
Yeah.
options when he feels like, giving you a bit of a hard time.
Yeah,
He's a violent gentleman.
for Kai to explain it, that the reason why he's like we are worried is also reason because like the feud between Kenta and Nakajima actually like started, but not in KV, but like in real life.
He actually kind of beat the fuck out of him.
I thought those two were great professionals in there. I
Yes,
thought they
yes.
told the story perfectly.
Yeah.
And
I
want to give praise to Suwama. That man went out there and absolutely slugged some
100%.
people. That I was like, oh, where did he come from? I haven't seen this Suwama since I don't even know. I can't even name the time. I don't know. He had a really cool match with Hiroshi Tanahashi once upon a time. I watched that a while back, so there you go. So this was the second half of the show. It was put into 3 parts. We went to break after this, and now it was into the main event aspect of the show. So how do you start the main event aspect? The Nozawa Rangai, of course. You had Bullet Club, Kaito, and Taiji Ishimori defeating Masada and Nozawa Rangai. I was literally sitting there. I was like, "Is it over yet? Is it over yet?" And then Nozawa does the whole get down on
That's
the
the
knee,
fuck.
like, all right,
Yeah.
Ishimori, kill me. And then he did, and then it was over. I was like, "Oh,
It was 4 minutes.
Yeah.
shit!"
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that match. Like it sort of felt like he was trying to do like a Kness thing, right? Like how
Yeah,
Kness
I
did at
remember
the
that.
end of his retirement match with KZ. But like the Kness retirement match, like before that moment, had like an actual really good match.
Yeah,
And the moment was like slowly built up to throughout the match, and that's why it was really emotional. And with Ranga, it was just kind of like it was almost like a joke version, like a parody version of the Kness retirement.
It felt like Nozawa was telling me that this actually isn't his last match, and that's what the commentary team was joking about the entire time. They're like, maybe not.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
I need to say that Nozawa is the biggest carny in Japanese wrestling history. One of the biggest.
No attacking Muto, baby.
How the hell did he make it possible to make his retirement match one of the 4 biggest four biggest matches of the show from like the card order, if we count out the special main event, like actually got like his retirement match in the Tokyo Dome, because I don't know how he did that, but it's generational work from him.
No, you see what I would personally do if I was like Master Watto. and like 10 years from now, Okada's retiring, and I ain't do much. I'd be like, hey, I'm retiring too. Same day, same night, same card, brother. Like, that's what's happening. I'm doing the same thing. No disrespect to Master Wada. That was just a random undercard guy I could think of on the New Japan roster. Because I just think that would be so funny. It's like,
Poor
just
Master
like
Wada.
Captain fucking New Japan showed up being like, I'm retiring too, guys. Me too. I'm on this card. But I say this. I'm what they call a Nozawa apologist. I think he's so fucking funny. Like I am a Nozawa fan. I like him. I've watched a few of his matches. I was like, I like this guy. This guy's not that bad. Like he does.
He brought me
shtick,
Rob Van
obviously.
Dam and Noah. So
Yeah,
to
I
me,
mean
he's
he
always
does a
babyface.
lot of shtick, but like there's far worse people at doing the same shtick that he does. So I like the guy. I'll miss him if this is his true retirement.
He's just a funny personal,
Yeah.
like everything you know about it, from like the Io Shirai story where they like got arrested and stuff, to like
I
him
forgot that
taking
was him
over
for a
in
while.
Noah booking, and like the rumors spread by like a fake email that he's like a dragon booker. It's like,
Oh god.
everything is perfect. He's like so hilarious, and it's like unintentional because most of that is like not even his own fault. Like he just wants to wrestle in book shows, and like people set him up all the time. It's funny.
Well, now presumably he is retired, and that we move on. No offense to him, but I'm good talking about the Sauron guy for the foreseeable future. Don't worry, there's always going to be stories about this guy. He doesn't go away. I can already feel it. Let's go back to the comments here. Amy says Nozawa doing his retirement at the exact same time as Muto's has popped me so huge. What a joker! No, I the fact that he was like, yeah, hey, can I retire on your Tokyo Dome show? Oh, sure. All right, go for it. But as we've seen, it wasn't all that much to write home about, but it was pretty funny. Next up was the junior battle. It was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion against the GHC Junior Champion Hiromu Takahashi versus Amakusa. Amakusa, of course, he's been making some waves as of late. His crazy dive that he does has been making the rounds on social media. So I think for a lot of people, or from what I could tell, if this wasn't their first time seeing him wrestle, it was definitely one of their first. And that's really where I'm going to bring this conversation. How do we think he did against someone like Hiromu Takahashi, who of course is the gigantic star? Because personally, I thought he killed it. I thought he was the star of the match.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. I like junior heavyweight wrestling, obviously, and I think it was a fast acrobatic match. I liked it, and of course it was the whole soap opera drama of Amakusa not remembering his old tag team partner, and the whole drama with the mask. It was very soap opera, but it's wrestling, so I did enjoy it. Like sometimes a bit of cheesiness can be good.
I totally agree. Did you enjoy this match, Dylan?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I'm a big Hiromu guy, but I feel like he definitely has a floor nowadays. But I thought this one definitely rose to a very high level for me. I am, as I've said, I'm new to Noah relatively, so I've seen a few Amakusa matches, mainly like in his reign, like the Junta match, obviously, and then I'm pretty sure I watched the one with Dante. I just kind of spaced out of it.
Congratulations.
Yeah. But I don't remember. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought that Amakusa did a great job. And yeah, this was when I started spacing out because it was getting late.
Oh, good. I don't blame you though. Peps, how did you like the match?
I was like the final 3 matches started. Was like, okay, and now we're getting into matches that get like a lot of time. And I was like, okay, this match picked up pace a lot. It was like over after like 10 minutes, 11, 10, 11 minutes.
11:02 to be exact.
Which is really not. I mean, it's
sprint.
not a lot for Hiromu Takahashi big match compared to like what he normally gets. But that definitely helped actually the match because both of them were like going crazy for like 11 minutes. Amakusa being like the big focal point of this and like doing all his stuff. It felt like that Hiromu just tried like not stealing his spotlight and just taking bumps and like doing his usual stick. And
Right.
that worked really well, especially like with the mask and whatever. I mean, in the end, it was still real. I mean, in the end, it was still a really dominant win of Hiromu. It wasn't like Amakusa was like really close to winning,
Yeah.
which, I mean, which isn't a really good sign if you're junior heavyweight champion and later the heavyweight champion like getting both defeated without any problems.
Mhm.
Especially considering that like your by far biggest star is retiring 30 minutes later. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if these two do anything at the junior
Yeah.
festival. I doubt it, but
yeah,
Has Amakusa been announced for that yet?
yeah.
yes, he has been. But Hiromu offered a rematch backstage to Amakusa with the title being on the line, and also invited him to LIJ. So
Oh.
yeah, that
All
was
right.
tweeted by the official New Japan account.
Wow.
I think
Translated also.
you know what I smell here is I think Hiromu has been begging to leave LIJ so he can start a junior faction in New Japan for the past like 4 years, which is just true. He has been doing that, but now he realizes that's never going to happen. So he's got Titan, he's trying to get Amakusa, he's trying to get everybody. He's just trying to make it a de facto junior group with also, you know, Sonata and,
Yeah.
and Naito being around.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's a bit weird to divide like the junior heavyweight champion of Noah to like your own promotion, pretty much. Because I mean, if he joins LIJ, you can expect Amakusa on New Japan shows.
Right.
And it was like, okay, the title match, where could it happen? I was like, okay, maybe it's a junior festival, but then they already announced the Leo Rush defense for the final of the New Japan Cup,
Yep.
which is after the junior festival.
Right.
So I have like no clue when he's getting the title match. Maybe, I mean, like the chance that Hiromu went off script is pretty high.
I was gonna say, if we're being honest, I mean, this is Hiromu. I'm sure
mean,
he didn't check with the offices.
New Japan Global did tweet it very specific.
Yeah.
That's true.
That is
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
Usually they try to bury that shit if it doesn't actually matter.
If that's what they want to do for the main event of the junior festival, then good for them. That's a big time match. I'm still intrigued to see where that show goes. But I will say, on a show filled with, you know, some of the biggest heels in wrestling, like Shun Skywalker, who's a jerk. You know, Tetsuya Naito's not a heel, but he threatened to pretty much destroy Keiji Muto in his retirement match. So I think that was big enough heel. No one was in comparison to the one and only Kazuchika Okada. Of course, Kazuchika Okada versus Kaito Kiyomiya. Surreal seeing Kazuchika Okada in a Noah ring. You know, walking down the entranceway with the big Pro Wrestling Noah behind him. But this was, of course, the most highly anticipated match of the show. Before the match, on commentary, it was announced that there would be no time limit, despite English commentary saying otherwise. I was like, you guys were in the building when they announced this. Why are we acting like there's 30 minutes? They got rid of it. Not that it ended up mattering at all, but they did get rid of the time limit. And what came about was a brutally violent match between two of the very best in the world. I've seen some people say this is Okada's best match in years. I've seen some say this is Kiyomiya's best match, period. And I think overall, what these two did was put on an absolute show. And truthfully, you know, Kaito Kiyomiya was never winning. Okay, we all have to be honest with each other. It was not happening. He had no shot. Poor guy had no shot. So to me, this was my favorite way for it to go, which was Okada being the biggest freaking heel on the show. It was fantastic. My match of the night, not counting the impromptu main event, which is a special case.
Imagine hitting the ace of Pro Wrestling Noah founded by Mitsuharu Misawa, with your finisher, pinning him like he could win, picking him up, hitting him with the fucking Emerald Flosion, hitting him again with your finisher, and then winning.
Not only winning, but he did the
The like
heel,
fuck you
heel and
the fuck you
WWE pin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
that
my god! I was like,
magical.
this dude. Like, obviously he does the flosion, but like, just like it just felt like so
Disrespectful.
like gross. Like it was. Go on.
Since you talked about Master Water earlier, the last time Okada pinned someone like that was actually Master Water.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that.
Kind of the funny one. Yeah, but I have like a lot of thoughts on that match. I thought that the way they built the match, like the match structure, was so perfect to the build up that like I had like the I wouldn't say fear because I enjoy his like epic main event matches, but I had like this feeling that they might go like 35, 40 minutes,
Sure.
and we do like the typical Okada classic with like 20 minutes of build up where like pretty much just they are just stalling. But that was not what happened. It was like shock and like in a positive way, because I think it helped the match, because Okada going out of his comfort zone of like his typical match structure is like always the best Okada. And that's, I mean, one of the reasons why is because we see it so rarely. I mean, when was the last time we have seen that cocky Okada in like a big singles match?
Honestly, DDT probably 2015 or something.
I think it was like a 2-1 match, likely.
Probably. Just like I mean, full heel, but.
But I know what you're talking about, like that, like true chaos, like that old school chaos. Doesn't come out very often. I really liked that it came out, and I agree with the match structure thing. But I'll let Kay talk a little bit since I already.
Yeah, no reason. I like usually don't particularly like the ace character of a promotion. Like I don't hate them, but you know they are usually like, as the babyface ace, they sort of feel boring because instead of having their own character journey, most of their journey is just about the promotion instead. But a lot of the time when such a babyface ace of a promotion like plays heel, like a lot of the time that works really well. Like I think it was with Tanahashi. I like Tanahashi so much better as a heel than as a face.
So
he's
as a heel, to be fair.
great as a heel, and I think it's the same with Okada. I think he did a great job in this match. Playing that side of him up, and had a lot of character in that role.
Yeah.
And that's something I really enjoyed. Poor Kiyomiya, but well, maybe someday.
This match went 16 minutes and 32 seconds, and it was perfectly built, like you guys said. Is that it went from, Okada not really respecting Kiyomiya to Kiyomiya just continuously getting back up and back up and back up and hitting him harder and harder and harder until he had to respect him. He had to go to that next level, despite not being Okada not feeling he was on that same level. And I think that's what made the finish that much better. It's that Kaito got so under this guy's skin that he had the win, but he needed to, hit the Emerald Flosion, hit another Rainmaker to put him down. Peps, I'll let you go. I know you had something to say.
Okay. I need to talk about this. They kind of, there was like the cleanest way you can beat someone with hitting two finishes. There was no chance Kaito had like there was like no really hope spot in the end. Like Kaito's winning. Where are we going from here? Okay, I talked.
Not a good place.
I talked about with Ash about it. We all know him. And I asked him, how high the chances are that he thinks like that Kaito actually gets a win over Okada, and he was like 3%, and I think that's way too high. I don't think he has any chance. No, I don't think he has any chance to beat Okada.
Ah,
Yes, you will maybe
You know
say
what?
otherwise, but I would not be shocked if we never see this match ever again. I would not be shocked if
I
Noah
wouldn't
just
either.
buried their ace, and Okada is going on and holds the belt for like another 400 days. And Kaito's like losing the belt now to Jake Lee, which is the worst mistake that could happen.
Ugh.
Oh,
You know,
Because
It's sickening.
I call back to Dream Slam a lot, right? Which is obviously the big interpromotional Joshi show back in the day. But FMW did this thing where basically Megumi Kudo, who was the champion for like 3 years,
Check out Dylan's article.
yes, she lost to every member of the roster basically for the 4 months leading up to each of her big matches in AJW, because they knew Kudo was never winning any of them. So they were like, okay, well, you're gonna lose to Crusher Matamari and Shrek Tsuchiya and Combat Toyota and Miyasato. And then you could lose to Aja Kong. Then it's cool.
Jesus Christ.
So maybe she did lose to Miyasato, but she lost to a lot of motherfuckers, right? And I always thought that was like, oh, that was like the funniest, but also like kind of the smartest way to go about interpromotional stuff, because it means that you are willing to do business, but you also got to do business for yourself to some degree. This they didn't do because Homeboy just lost, and
Homeboy got crushed.
the way that it happened was crazy, because like he did that big suplex out onto the Tokyo Dome floor, which is like has that level to it that's always fucking gross, you know. I mean, like it was, you know, he started working the arm that he does the Rainmaker with. I was like, oh, this is like really smart cerebral wrestling. They're like gonna tell a story here of like, oh, if Okada doesn't win, there's an out, right? If it goes to a draw, there's an out where it's like, oh well, I fucked up my arm, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just like, you know what? I'm cool. Having a hurt arm ain't hurt me ever before. Why would I do that? Like he just like was like, I'm done. He actually, I think he learned that from Tanahashi, because Tanahashi used to do that all the time. Where like somebody would be working the knee for 35 minutes, and then he's like, you know what? Nah, I'm working your knee now. That's what we do. And Okada learned that. He took that and he used it to beat the fuck out of Kaito. So that's great.
It was absolute class.
Absolute class. Yeah, the thing is, obviously, I mean, we talked about what will happen next, because Kaito, the thing is with Kaito, we are now at the time where the one that needs to step up for Noah. Otherwise, I mean, it's about the future of Noah right now. It's not like, okay, are they selling 5,000 tickets more or less in a year? It's like about the whole future of the promotion, where we are heading to. Because Keiji Muto is gone, so like 80% of the tickets they are selling of the big shows are gone. They need to sell them with someone else. And Kaito was their man to go. And I was like, okay. He now got geeked and like by the bigger promotion, by like, okay, like New Japan was clearly put above them tonight. I'm like, okay, where are we heading to? And I was like, okay, are we heading into another Kaito Kiyomiya loses every match that we like had already 3 times in the last 4 years? I'm like, okay, that would be, in my opinion, the worst case scenario, because I mean, the next challenger is Jake Lee.
I was gonna say worst case scenario is his title match.
The worst case scenario is to losing against a failed All Japan main eventer. If you're failing in All Japan as a main eventer, how can you make it in Noah? Like drawing wise. That's my question for the next.
I feel like that's when you get regulated in Puro. Is if you fail in All Japan. Sorry, this is me just shitting on him. But if you fail in All Japan, you ain't going to Noah. Ain't going to New Japan. You going somewhere else.
There's a reason so many people want Kento Miyahara to explore outside of All Japan, and it's for that reason alone.
I mean, it's really nothing against All Japan, but All Japan is clearly the way smaller promotion compared to Noah. And if you aren't a draw there, I don't see how you can be a draw in the big leagues.
Well, he's a good-looking guy now, Peps. That's how. Gosh, but yeah.
Oh God. Like English commentary joked about how like, maybe they'll be the golden guys, and I was just like, are they gonna further rip off Gold Class? Like even worse than already doing?
No, you know,
No.
they saw Gold Class and they were like, oh, they look good, they good looking, and then they saw Just Four Guys and they're like, that's a cool name. Let's go with good looking guys. That's this is the year of the guys. Let's go.
We got some crazy factions going on right now.
No, I'm mostly joking about that. Of course, like the idea of having handsome guys in a faction is not unique, but
The thing about this story now, I think, is just not the story, but for these two moving forward, is we know Okada's it's gonna be business as usual. He's moving on. He's gonna go pin Hiroki Goto for the 95th time.
Oh.
Never
no.
mind, bro. That's
And win
Oh,
tag
no.
team titles.
That is so not cool.
But it's true. It's true. He brought Tanahashi with him, who also pins Goto 95
Oh,
times.
no.
Perfect. So that's what Okada's gonna go do that. But Kaito, he has to face Jake Lee, and that is like the biggest fear of all, because Jake Lee most of the time stinks. So I'm not feeling great about it. I don't like Jake Lee. Not a big fan. I've seen him have like a handful of good matches, but more so than not, I am not.
Wait. Yeah. Okay. Tell me against who were all the good matches. There's one name that you need to say. Just one name.
It's Kento. Well, I liked his match against Yuma from the
That was
Champion
good. But,
Carnival final. But yeah, it's Kento.
Jake Lee's like a wrestler that only can have a good match against Kento Miyahara. It's like the funniest thing ever. It's like
He
he's
had
like
that
always
smelly
just
match with
solid, and then
Suwama.
like Kento appears like the best out of nowhere. He produced like match of the year contenders. It's like
He's a
so
creepy dude.
Pep's
this
really
Jake
called a
Lee.
check on you. He's like, nah, I don't believe that. Tell me which one.
I said Yuma too. Yuma had one good one with him, but otherwise,
I would need to look up, but like I'm pretty sure like if I go in cage matches, so and like definitely his top 10 matches are all like against Kento Miyahara. Okay.
as they should be. That speaks a lot to both of them, I think, in different regards. We have the 94th minute. Okada seems to have spent more energy eating meat than wrestling today. It seems.
Oh, yeah,
I saw him post that after. I was like,
He's like, I'm
man.
still eating meat. I'm
was
still a
like,
meat eater, guys.
This guy. Kyle's excited to listen to y'all's review. What a show. I agree. What a show. And thank you for listening. All right. It's time. It's time to get to
I checked it on Cage Match. From his top 10 singles matches on Cage Match, 8 of them are against Kento Miyahara.
Oh, poor Jake.
That's a great sign.
Poor Jake.
Oh, no.
That's why he has Jack Morris with him to get himself over. I get it. I get it. All right. Moving forward here, it's time. It's time for the semi-main event of the evening. Now you may think this is the main event, but no.
Yeah, they could not give Naito a win in a Tokyo Dome main event. Like they had to keep it from happening somehow.
Yep, and
This is off topic. Let me just mention, like, all of the Stardom girls were at the show.
They were.
Yeah,
the whole crew.
I was like, damn, that's dope. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think all of them were there except for Himeka. I think
because I'm seeing like Micah post about it, Hazuki post about it. I was like, oh, that's dope that they got to.
Everyone
Yeah,
was
and I saw Momokogo was like at the dog show with Mayu together. I don't know.
Oh, and obviously wrestling legend Kip Sabian was also there.
He didn't go back for AEW. He was like, yeah, I'm just gonna stay here.
He's like, can I just watch? Can I just watch at least? Please let me stay.
Yeah, I think the whole wrestling world was there. I think everyone who had the chance to go actually went.
Except for Akira Hokuto, who was doing an Instagram live of her shopping during this match, during the main event. I was like, that's crazy.
That's a
like,
goat right
as
there.
the main event is like
Honestly,
climaxing.
queen.
Like, I was like, that's dope.
I love her so much. Oh my god, that's amazing. But of course, it was the official main event until it wasn't. Keiji Muto versus Tetsuya Naito. 28 minutes and 58 seconds. This was everything I hoped it to be. The only thing I didn't get was the moonsault, and I'm actually happy I didn't, because I was terrified if he even came close to hitting it.
I think he actually wanted to hit it. I think he went into this match and wanted to hit it, but like he had fear, and I think that's understandable. Even though he didn't look as bad as I thought, considering he had like Tom hamstring, I think it was a couple of weeks ago.
He looked like Keiji Muto of the past 3 years.
But I will give him this. I would not think that a 28-minute Keiji Muto match in 2023 would be this good. I thought
Yeah,
this was
I agree.
like even like outside of the obvious emotional impact, I thought that was like a pretty solid in-ring match that was obviously heightened infinitely by the emotional captivation of it.
Yeah, this was the spectacle of spectacles, I think, in a lot of ways for me, in that it almost didn't matter if the actual match was good,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like this is a special moment in time. You know, Muto retiring is the end of an era in pro wrestling. It's the end of pro wrestling love, obviously. And I thought he couldn't have picked a better opponent than Naito. I thought Naito was masterful in this match. He played they together played to the crowd to perfection. They had the crowd on the edge of their seats going back and forth on this match. Every time that Muto teased that moonsault, I was like jumping out of my own chair. I was like, if you're doing that to me, imagine the people in the building. You had, you know, Muto just trying to do everything to survive, and the crowd just ate it up. I loved every minute of this match. If you don't have Keiji Muto nostalgia, maybe it wasn't for you, but I think this
Yeah.
type of match, I understand that. But for me, like as someone who became a Muto fan when most people didn't like him anymore, I was loving every second of this because this is like Keiji Muto to a T. You know, this guy's 60 years old, but he's going out there. He's putting on one last show. You know, and I thought he was fantastic. What did you think, Case? Since you didn't have the Keiji Muto nostalgia like I did.
Yeah, clearly, as a fake fan who's only like pre-2010s wrestling experience or old DDT, uh, yeah, it's like, I mean, the main story I could see was like whose knees were gonna give out first, but
Yeah.
like I think
Sad reality.
they did do like probably do the best, you know, that a guy in, you know, Muto's age and condition was capable of. So, you know, I
Shot
respect that
hamstrings and all.
I respect that they went as long as they did and they, you know, made as much out of it as they did. But of course, you know, that, like, I think the main event and of course the main event and the real main event
Yeah.
were matches where, of course, you know, the reliance on that nostalgia was very strong, and obviously, like, most of the people there in attendance and a lot of the people watching, I imagine, did have that nostalgia. So, you know, most people probably didn't have the same experience as me. You know, a
Sure.
person who who's seen like fucking 600 rookie matches, like, but not a single Keiji Muto match from the prime of his life.
Yeah, and a lot of people, you know, that tune into this show just don't actually like Keiji Muto. If you're on the timelines, there's a lot of people that watch the show that do not like him. So that's also another factor. Dylan, how do you like the match?
See, first of all, I also don't have too much Keiji Muto nostalgia in that sense. I was a Wrestle One fan for a time. Not a big Keiji Muto fan. Bit more of a Hanakamura Veni fan personally. That's why I was watching the shows for.
Taste.
But you know, I was watching Wrestle One, and you know, I've known Keiji Muto because he's Keiji Muto. I was also, you know, I'm 20 years old. I wasn't around for NWO Muto. You know, I wasn't around for like the Three Musketeers Muto, and I've only gone back and watched some of it. So I didn't have that level of nostalgia, but I just felt, and this is going to get a little bit into a tangent here, because on the timelines, people have been really dumb lately. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Not about this. This is off topic.
Shocked,
Yeah,
stunned.
people have been really dumb lately.
That's something new.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of it, and not to dwell too much, but a lot of it is like, you know, the Sami Zayn shit, right? And it's about storytelling and wrestling and all that.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, this is storytelling. This is, and I think I watched this match, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I was like, oh, wrestling's dope, but I have a more fleshed out like takeaway from this match, is that wrestling storytelling is infinitely better when it is the natural progression of a wrestler and how they are going as a, in their career.
Sure.
And they don't need to betray 17 of their friends and do this and have
You
a
should really
monologue.
watch the Masquerade storyline.
Yeah, you should.
But like I felt like this was a match about a man who's been around longer than basically anybody else in his field.
Yeah.
And him having fucked up knees, him probably staying around a bit longer than he should have.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day,
Mhm.
he was doing it for the people that he lost, that didn't get to have
Yeah.
long careers. He was doing it for the guy fucking at ringside that eventually got in the ring, who didn't get to have a retirement match. He was doing it for like the history of professional wrestling, for the love of professional wrestling. And I think that's a way better story than anything that you can produce as a storyline. Right?
Right.
That's what I took out of this match. And it captivated me. I'm a big Naito fan, obviously. And maybe this wasn't like work rate genius as it was 12 years ago. But
it was better than the last Tokyo Dome.
yes, but I imagine their knees were both a bit in better shape, and they were maybe moving at a bit of a better pace at that point. I don't even know if I've watched that match in full. I think I watched highlights of it. But I don't know. That's what I felt out of this match, was just like that, like whole last love type of thing really felt real to me, because it felt like a real, genuine, like, this is a guy who's like, he wants to give it all, his all on his last hurrah. He wanted to do the moonsault. His mind was there, but he's just not. He's not capable of doing it anymore. He did until the wheels fell off, and I like that.
He did. The wheels fell off weeks ago.
I guess that's sort of like part of the difference why we enjoyed the match, didn't enjoy the match to such a different extent, is like it depends on what your preferences are in storytelling. Like for a person like me, who primarily likes wrestling as a storytelling art form in like the same capacity as, for example, theater, which obviously is why Shun is my fave. Is like, for me, this match didn't offer much, but like for the people who prefer the sort of intermingling of shoot and kayfabe in that sense, I think it was probably a really touching match.
Absolutely. Peps, what was your thoughts on the match?
I mean, I can just disagree with what Dylan pretty much said. Pro wrestling is the best for me if like the story doesn't need to be out of the space with like where you need to think like around 50 different corners to like get the actual story point. But if it felt real, that is like the best thing about pro wrestling. If it felt like real, but it's like obviously story, and that one felt more than just real, because I mean, obviously with Keiji Muto retiring, the last big major, whatever you want to call him, the last major mainstream Japanese wrestling star of his generation is now retiring, and that's like a big loss for the Japanese wrestling scene. And him using that moment to like, not only, I mean, he just could have put himself over and just like, okay, I'm winning this match in 15 minutes and don't do much, and the people would have been happy anyway. But he used that moment to not only put himself and Naito over, especially since Naito got a big win, which kind of went under at the end. But like all the stuff, all the tributes he did to Misawa, he did to Chono with the STF, and all of that is like that made the match for me, not only in ring wise was it really good, but especially emotionally, I was like fully invested in it.
Sure.
And when it was over, I was like, damn, now it's over. Like the legend, the myth himself is now retired, and it's like, okay, it's a surreal moment for me, because I'm not like a long-term wrestling fan. I started wrestling in 2018, but still like my connection to the Keiji Muto character and Great Muta is like still strong enough to like actually feel big emotions and like being a bit sad about it. Even I complained the last 2 years about how big of an ego he has. It's a weird conflict in my head. I can't really explain it. I think you just need to feel it to understand it.
Yeah,
He's so like, I mean, his entrance alone is fantastic.
yeah,
That kind of presentation is what is missing in wrestling right now, especially in the US, because you have AEW and WWE who use like the same stage for everything, and it just looks boring.
sure.
With the smaller promotion, you don't even need to start a, but it's like the presentation of Noah with like all his themes playing, Keiji Muto walking out then to his current theme, the 2019 version of 2021 version of his holdout theme, and like the fans going crazy about him. It felt like the last big star is now gone, and with that, the whole era of the 90s is now officially over.
Yeah.
May I also
which
mention that
someone we
My
have to
Way
do.
video with the another side, with the two sides of it, where it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
Keiji Muto reminiscing with like the classic My Way, and then Naito's like, "Oh, I love this dude, but I'm about to fucking murder him with the punk, with the punk rock version of My Way."
Yeah.
I was like, "This is dope. This is like, well,
Yeah.
it
That was
was
a great
so
video.
beautifully filmed and just so beautifully like just laid out, directed.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to storytelling for me, I like both of them because I grew up. I became a wrestling fan through WWE, so
Yeah.
like I have to love that almost. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, but what I am gonna talk about, of course, is I loved the way this match ended. With Naito hitting the Shining Wizards and then hitting one Destino for the win. I thought that was like a great touch because you kind of expected Muto to keep going, but it was almost like he just has nothing left in the tank, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I was shocked when
And
he didn't kick out. I'm gonna be honest.
yeah, I was too. I think I think everyone was. They're
I
like,
didn't
oh
realize
wow,
it
it's
was
over.
28 minutes in. Like it felt a lot shorter.
I
Sorry.
actually think till the end that he's gonna hit the moonsault. Like literally
Yeah,
I did
till the
too.
free counter was like, okay, he's sitting in moonsault. And
Yeah.
what I also thought was like really touching was like, I don't know if like anyone noticed that, but Naito was so close to crying at some point. And
Oh yeah.
like all wrestlers out, like the whole roster was on the outside,
Yeah.
sitting there watching him. I think Lij was there.
There was one shot of Muto like on the ground, just like like selling, and just in the background you see Sonata staring at him, and I was like, damn. Like, and that's a story for me, right? That's something that like I do personally have a lot of, because I I don't want to say I grew up a big Sonata fan, but yeah, I mean, for the past 7 years, I've been a big Sonata fan. And obviously Sonata was trained by Keiji Muto. He was the great Sonata. He was supposed to take over his fucking, he was supposed to be the next Keiji Muto. He decided not to be, but like that does resonate a lot with me. So like just seeing that shot of Sonata just standing there in his tuxedo, just staring at his mentor and his tag team partner fucking wrestle for the last time, like that was just like, that was meaningful to me. That meant a lot. I really liked it.
It was quite special.
I think Sonata was kind of I mean, I wouldn't say he was disappointed, but he definitely was sad that he wasn't the one doing the retirement match, because I'm pretty sure that in like deep inside of him he wanted to do that, and I think there was a long period of time where he was like actually the chosen one to be the last match of Keiji Muto, which he then decided not to, so he can be Okada's bitch. Like everyone else on the roster.
I would say, well, Kaito Kiyomiya just was, so everyone can be.
I kind of wanted it to be Sonata a bit more than Naito. I mean, Naito is the guy, right? Like he's
Naito's the
Naito.
most popular guy in the whole wrestling Japanese world right now.
He's
so
the
it's
most popular guy in
understandable
Japan.
that he chose him.
But I really wished that there could have been a Sonata singles with Keiji Muto along the road, personally. Just I don't know, just as a I don't know, from a emotional, historical standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, I was pitching that a while ago for Wrestle Kingdom, because everyone knew he's going to work Wrestle Kingdom, and then was like I said that before even though I announced that they are going to the Tokyo Dome, because I did not expect him to go to the Tokyo Dome, but I mean it made sense. They drew better than the Wrestle Kingdom show. What a surprise! I really wish that Sonata would have gotten a longer moment with Keiji Muto in the ring, because they had like this 9 minutes random 6-man tag where like Keiji Muto was like in the ring for like 2 minutes or so,
Yeah.
and it's another chapter in Sonata's what if story.
Yeah, it's a big one of those.
Yeah, I mean, if he what he could have been and what he's now is like such a big difference that I don't even think I could have blamed him for like feeling like bad about his decision making.
Yeah. Are we still on air? We are still on air. Okay. I don't know what happened to Scott, but I am here to take over a little bit. I'm not going to go on to the next match a little bit. I'm not going to go on to the next match yet because, I'm going to wait for Scott. Hopefully he comes back imminently. But, yeah, Kay, how did you... So we just talked about a lot of, like, bullshit. Like,
No worries, I get the
yeah.
same way.
Like,
I get the same way when I talk about my face.
What retirement do you think affected you the most in recent memory? In the same way, I guess.
I haven't seen that many, but like again, for me, I think the one that affected me the most was Kinesis. I didn't actually I hadn't actually seen much or anything of Kinesis run, but I was at that point really invested in KZ as a character, and like he carried that match emotionally. So basically, even though I wasn't like itself invested, in Kinesis, in addition to the match just it being really good on a technical level, all these guys wrestling like they aren't in the mid 40s to late to 50s actually. In addition to that, it was just like having this one character you already have a connection to, and through whom you can sort of experience that emotion as well was, I guess it was what helped me with that. But I think I haven't seen that many retirement matches because I'm someone who's generally a lot more interested in sort of the future of pro wrestling than the past. I focus a lot on the rookies, on the youngsters, in a sense. Like, I think my oldest wrestling favorites are like 30. I think Casey's a bit older than 30, but about 30. It's obviously it's Mina. I like obviously Ibushi was my first favorite. He's a bit older than that now. I think when he retires, that's gonna be that moment for me.
See, yeah, I feel like for me, retirements are huge. Retirements, I don't know why, but like, I mean, even for example, this is a bit of a niche one because it's Oz Academy. Boo, boo. Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
But Dynamite Kansai retired, and it was like this like big like 25-minute match where it was, like Mayumi Ozaki was just beating her up, doing the heel shtick for 22 minutes straight, and then Dynamite Kansai finally won in the last 3 minutes, and it was huge. And I didn't grow up with Dynamite Kansai. That was like the 5th match of hers I'd ever seen. It took place in 2016 before I ever knew who she was. Like all these things, but like I watched it and I started crying because I was like I don't know, the way that wrestling characters like live and die is like so. I don't know. The retirement is so important, and the retirement match is so important, and that's why I think our extra main event was so interesting, and so I don't know. I don't know if it touched anybody else's hearts, but it really like warmed my heart when obviously Keiji Muto, after getting beat by Tetsuya Naito, told him to get the fuck out because Naito cannot close the Tokyo Dome show without getting told to get the fuck out. And then he said, Chono, you never had your retirement match. Let's have one more. Let's go at it one more time. And then you got Tiger Hattori, obviously, who also retired 3 years ago now at Tokyo Dome in 2020. He got the three of them together in the ring, and they had a match. And I thought it was going to be like a finger poke of death, like, haha, oh, he pinned me. They locked up, and I was fucking screaming. I was like, what is happening? So yeah, Peps, I'll go to you. How did you feel? Like, what was going through your mind when that happened? when Masahiro Chono got in, took his glasses off, and like actually locked up.
I was in shock. I think that Keiji Muto said in some Tokyo Sports interview, some other interview, that he wanted to face Chono in his last match, and everyone was like laughing about it because, like, I mean, Chono can't walk, right? I mean, he had like his stick coming out and like couldn't really walk on his own. It was like, okay, he's just joking around, like he's calling me out, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I think that was like, I mean, I'm sorry for Naito, but that was like the perfect way to end the show. Not only is Chono getting his retirement match after not getting it in 2014,
yes,
but also like the whole circle of Muto's career ending with his debut opponent, Chono being his last opponent. This form, I don't think. I mean, the history books will say it's his last opponent, but I mean, it's not his last match because it's like not a real match.
No, you know what? I didn't think it was gonna be a real match. They locked up. It's a real match. That's how I feel.
Okay, it's a real match.
It's a real
we
match.
Say,
they locked up.
Okay, we are fucking Naito over here again.
Yeah, fuck Naito. Chono took a bump, bro. Chono took a bump in 2023. That is crazy. Even though it was a side bump on the Shining Wizard, but still, like, that was, oh my god, I love that. How did you feel, Kay? I know that you have a little bit less.
a lot less emotional attachment, but like it looked nice. I liked the little hug at the end. That was very sweet. During the pin, I can appreciate just two old men showing their appreciation for each other, and that was a nice moment. Like, I could see how that would be very emotional for people who don't know Chono primarily through his parodies in DDT.
See, no, the funny thing is I first knew about Chono because of Naito, because he was the guy who presented Naito with his G1 trophy, and like gave him like a little passing of the torch in like what, 2017, 2018, 2016, whatever, 2017. Yeah. Yeah. So was when he had the match. Yeah. And then, okay. Yeah. But yeah, in 2017, was the first time I found out about Chono, and it was because of Tetsuya Naito. So the three of them all having this, like, even though Naito was, gone by now, having this little moment was really dope to me. And also, it's the last of the Musketeers. Obviously, Hashimoto is no longer with us, so it's a shame that they couldn't have gone out, the three of them together. But I thought it was really sweet. And yeah, Chono actually getting the STF on and getting the win. He finally finished his career. Like I said, I have a real fondness of retirement matches. I find them very meaningful and they resonate very heavily with me. I enjoy them a lot.
I have such a hate-love relationship with retirement matches. I love to watch them, but I hate that they happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, with Keiji Muto is like one thing, because Keiji Muto is nearly in age where you should do other things than pro wrestling. But like, I mean, if we look at the upcoming months, we have Himeka retiring in 25.
We're gonna talk about that.
I'm gonna be so done after this.
That's gonna be my match of the year. Yes.
Yeah, and definitely for me too. Because we all know why. No, but like, here's like, okay, I was really emotional about it, and I was like, but I wasn't, it's what was like emotional way where like was like happiness kind of, and not like in a sad way. And I think with the last one, it just made me enjoy this whole point, or like whole segment of like Muto retiring with the match against Naito, and then the Chono thing a bit more entertaining in form of like way more. I mean, it gave me a better mood because I knew like, okay, then Chono's dream finally came true. They can have the last match, and then it's against Muto, and both of them like locking up together with like Taka Hattori, who's like one of the most legendary referees in Japanese wrestling. doing that, it's like it was just perfect. Um, I think it was like a perfect match, and even though I think it was a shoot, I don't think that anyone outside of those two knew about it. I can't imagine that like backstage, like anyone knew about it.
Honestly, I don't even know if Taika Tori knew about it because he didn't look like he had any intention of standing up.
I don't even know if like Chana knew about it.
I know. I feel like Chono had to, but at the same time, he was crying the entire match. So like, maybe he was just sad. Yeah, so was Tana. Tana was crying too. Everybody was crying. Everybody was crying like a baby.
And Tanahashi's always crying.
Yeah, Tanahashi cries a lot. But yeah, I thought it was just a beautiful show of, a beautiful demonstration of that generation, of the last of the Musketeers. I don't know if Scott's mic is working now, but he might be here. I know he can hear us. But I don't know if
He's
he can
among
talk.
us.
He is among us.
I'm
Yes,
here.
he is here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
I broke my own thing. Don't ask about it, and I didn't want to leave to fix it because I think I would have ended the broadcast. So I'm on my phone now. I had hold mic set up, so now I'm on my phone. But I wanted to talk about this match. I wanted to introduce it. So thank you to Dylan for taking over. Very clean, by the way, seeing that I disappeared with nothing to be said, which was not on purpose. I was trying to shut my camera off, instead I took everything. But nonetheless, I thought it was fantastic. 1 minute, 37 seconds. Wonderful match. If you were to rate this, I would give it just hearts. That's what I literally did. Because
I didn't know how to rate it, so I checked your
see.
spreadsheet. Because I was like, what is he gonna say? Because I wanted to give it a 10, but I don't want to mess up my whole spreadsheet. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
Exactly. Yeah. See, it's the wrestling nerd in me was like, I can't mess up my spreadsheet, but I loved every second of this, so I gave it all hearts. That's what I gave it. That was my rating because it was absolutely wonderful. To follow what you all said, I think the beauty of just Muto, one, being like, all right, Naito, this is my show. Get the hell out of here. And then following it up with Chono, get in here. It was definitely on the spot because, like you said, Tiger had not a clue. He was like, am I supposed to actually get up? Are we actually doing
funny.
it?
This is funny. Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay.
And Chono hitting the Shining Wizard and then locking in that STF with Muto tapping. That is pro wrestling love at its very best. That is everything that saying means. So I loved every second of this. I loved this show. Again, for the Keiji Muto haters out there, cope. He had one of the greatest retirements I'll ever see. He went out there. He got the Tokyo Dome packed. He brought so many wrestling promotions together. This was an absolute home run from start to finish.
Yeah.
I forgot I'm technically hosting the show, so I have to continue talking.
There was one detail.
Is there anything else left to be said?
Yeah, when Keiji Muto walked out of his ring, I did not notice that. Shout out to Ash. They played his original whole theme, so not the version New Japan Noah did, but the original New Japan one from the 90s, which was a cool detail. And then he walked out there and it had this big thing with Hashimoto on there, and I was like, okay, then I was done, and I was so close to just tear out a bit, because it was all so emotional, all really well after such an amazing show, such an awesome ending. I don't think we need to talk about how high this is gonna end up as show of the year, because that's, for me, one of the best shows I've ever watched.
It was a strong show.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No, I don't need to talk about that.
Last two matches were just a spectacle. You had Kenta Miyahara and Nakajima, the Old Japan Congo tag match. You had a cool undercard, the TJPW woman showing out. That was just a spectacle that you likely will not see till Tanahashi retires.
Yeah. Damn, why did you even bring that up?
All
I don't
right,
want to think about that.
All right, we're not. Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
wait.
I don't
But
think about that.
the good thing is the good thing is Tanahashi said he
That's
wants to
15 years
retire
away.
at 61. We have 15 more.
Oh yeah,
15
he's doing
more
the
years left.
Hungry
That
Box thing,
spiteful
where it's
bitch.
like I will not retire until I'm 1 year older than the whoever retires. It's classic.
I love it. But,
Yeah, I'm lucky
all right,
because
well, I'll
the
let-
oldest of
oh,
my
good.
yeah, sorry, no. I just want to say I'm lucky because the oldest of my favorite wrestlers is only gonna retire when he's like 200 years old. So
I believe it.
Yeah.
Those Dragon
That's
Gate
the dream.
peeps
Uh,
are
That's
different.
the dream.
no,
right
no,
there.
no. I'm talking about
I think
Ibushi.
yeah.
Okay, him too.
You know, there's like the moment where I hated to be a Joshi fan because
Also, are we all set?
Yeah.
could be over tomorrow. It could be over in 15 years. Who knows?
Yeah,
I'm happy
yeah.
with every day I've survived.
I don't wanna.
It-
It sounds
Scott, how's
so
host the show
sad.
from your phone?
Every day that you. It's awful. I hate every second of it. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. I hate it. I
No,
can't
there's a
tell.
delay. That's the funny thing. It's like
Can
you're
you
like
hear
delayed
me?
by like we could hear you.
Oh, okay.
But you're delayed by like a second and a half. So like everything you say just doesn't line up. Oh man, what a
There wouldn't be
What a
any
great
better
show.
way of doing this show than me messing this up completely. Now would it?
no.
I mean, it's
That's
a
five
Dylan,
star.
good show.
That's
can you
quality.
finish the show, please?
Yeah,
for me?
yeah. I believe that is all we have to say. Overall thoughts of the show. I thought it was a great show. Peps thought it was one of the best shows he ever saw. Kay, how did you feel about it overall?
I think it was a fairly good show. Like again, it wasn't like entirely my style, but it was a good show.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was pretty easy to watch overall. Scott, I know you liked
way
it.
shorter than I thought.
Yes, it was. I loved how they paced it, which is a conversation for another day. But I loved that they did it with increments. I think Jordan mentioned it. That's like, doing it with like the undercard being like very firm, then the middle card being very firm, and then having the it was really well paced and all that. But I think I will close the show now, unless closing remarks. Anybody?
Yeah, I was like for the time I was like talking to a friend when I have time because I wanted to watch something with him. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I have time till like I think there was like 8 hours after the show started because I did not know how long I will sit here. I I legit expected to sit here for like 7 to 8 hours. It ended up being like I think it was 4.5, and if you skipped intermissions, you are ending up in under
It was like
4
4.
hours.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
For 11 matches, that's insane.
Yeah, 11 matches on like one of the biggest Japanese shows of all time. I mean, New Japan would have done like 6 hours out of that.
Yeah, you're right.
At least.
Yeah,
I'm just really happy how this all went, and I think Noah has a lot of momentum coming up into the next few months. It's only a matter of time until they fuck it up, but we'll see.
But let's wait and see. I'm on the Noah train nowadays. I know Kano is
Good
never
luck.
gonna win another championship, so it's like it's cool. I'm just gonna get
Go
sad.
Shiozaki should be back soon.
It's true. I've never been a Noah fan in the Go Shiozaki era, so that's gonna be interesting. But
And he's the only top guy who hasn't been pinned by a top New Japan wrestler yet. I think that should come soon.
yet it's definitely coming. It is definitely. I feel like he definitely got pinned by some. We'll talk about this another time. Anyway, thank you all for listening to the first 5-star summit. I'm not sure when the next one will be. Maybe Mania. I don't think there's a big show before that. But yeah, we're doing this for the big shows. I don't know. It'll be different people. Obviously, this was kind of the specific group for this show, but there will be more members of the 5-star crew on the next one and the next one and the next one and so on and so forth. Thank you to our guests, Kay, Peps, and me, and also to our esteemed host, Scott E. Edward.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed. Everybody go check out 5-star, 5starnetwork.co. Go check out all of the podcasts. Dynamic Dream Dragons. Watch Cheege.
Dynamic.
Shush. Dramatic. I know it's dramatic. I'm trying to. I already. Oh, and the AW one, the All Elite cast. I couldn't remember what that one was. Because Piro is all that's on my mind. But thank you all for listening. I am going to try to get the fuck out of here as soon as possible because I'm rambling. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna close it the way that I know. So say no, Ijo. That's it. Okay. Yeah.